legislation becomes the single most challenge, I would say, because if we are talking at this particular point in time about being regulated by a 1977 Rural, Urban and Town Planning Act, it's difficult to see how we move forward. Yes, Cabinet has passed the green light for the use of new technologies in terms of moving forward, building new cities. But then by the time you go to the authorities and the regulators, they are now using discretion because they're telling you that, strictly speaking, this is not according to law. We do not have a law that actually protects you. So we must tell you in advance that even though we give you the green light to do this, it will only actually become legal at the point that it comes into law, when nobody actually can tell you when that will happen. So that is a challenge, and I don't think because we are building a smart city and a large part of the business that we want to run in that city is digital based, we also know that we do not have the regulations which have been enacted into law that allow those businesses to run efficiently and within a legal framework which is acceptable within the country. So, at the end of the day, when all has been said and done, when you are caught between a desire to move forward and an act and instruments that don't actually allow you to move forward, you are really stuck in a bind. And a lot of the time, these conversations that we have in these kinds of forums become statements of good intentions, but very difficult to achieve. So at the end of the day, when all has been said and done, what my takeaway from here is how do we move forward as a country in terms of updating the legislation frameworks? Because only when we've done that will we be able to move at the pace at which we could. I think one of the questions that people always ask, is there money? Let me tell you that money will always follow opportunities. Those who are here as CEOs, you know, I think the major question, one of the things we needed to address is what are the opportunities? The opportunities are available in abundance as we try to implement these smart cities. The question that I often get asked by potential investors is the authority. What authority do we have to implement what we want to implement? Because the authority is where they start looking at or evaluating the risk mitigation. So if I have a brilliant idea, the idea is on the ground and we're ready to roll, and we're ready to roll it to actually start building and moving forward. But we do not have the legal framework. An external investor will say, well, my investment is not protected because I actually cannot sign a contract with you that is protected at law. To address where are the opportunities.
I think it's something that we really need to look at as a country. Tendai, it's expensive to buy a property in Zimbabwe. The cost of construction could go down.
Yes, absolutely. What we're seeing is that in the incentives that are supposed to be available in the special economic, additional way of building in terms of sustainability emits, in fact, let me say that if I look at the technologies that we're using at ZIMS, right, carbon emissions by 40% from the building, but also the cost of making a building in terms of fabricated, precast fabricated, with various other components also significantly reduces the cost, not only of the material, but also the cost